Welcome to Obsessed with Success, starring Russel Morgan.
Hello and welcome to Obsessed with Success with Russel Morgan and Kevin Rosenquist, the show where legal insight meets entrepreneurial passion. On this podcast, we go beyond the basics of legal practice to uncover the personal stories, strategic decisions, and bold moves that defines today's most successful legal professions. In the first episode, we're turning the spotlight on Russel himself, his remarkable journey, his father's legacy, and the mission behind his work. My name is Kevin Rosenquist. Let's dive in. Russel, welcome. Great to have you here.
Kevin, great to be here.
So I want to start at the beginning. Your family came to America as refugees. Can you take us back to that moment? What was that experience like for you and your family?
So my family and I immigrated to this country in the mid-90s with pretty much what we were able to carry in our backs. And we came here as refugees, seeking asylum in the United States. Me being fairly young at that point, it was a traumatic change, both in culture and in life experience. And considering we came here with very limited means, it forced you to grow up very quickly.
Sure.
With that being said, my parents' mantra from day one has always been education first. Now, that in itself shaped me and continues to shape me today. It told me the values of building a solid foundation before you develop and expand. And education being exactly that. It opens doors for you. Now, you may not necessarily go into the field that you go to school for, but it will change you on a societal level. It will change the way that your brain functions. It'll expand the way that you see the world. Same way as traveling or any other life experience does for you, it opens your perspective. The fact that we came here with limited means forced us to adapt very quickly. It forced you to learn languages very quickly. Coming here, not understanding the language and being thrown into school, it makes you adapt. It forces you to become what the expectation is. That solidified my drive for the rest of my life. And it speaks volumes on your ability to adapt, which is one of your major successes in this life as a whole. If you're unable to adapt to the changes in your environment, you are pretty much dead in the water. So I would say that the fact that my family instilled education, not just for the sake of education, but really for the purpose of expanding your view on this world, really made me part of the person who I am today. It also forced me to learn adaptability and the fact that it's something that is required no matter what you're doing in this world, no matter what kind of industry you're in. Life changes on a day-to-day. Markets change on a day-to-day. The treasury changes on a day-to-day. So whatever industry you're in, whatever business you're in, if you're unable to adapt as things are changing, you'll never be able to survive, let alone thrive.
Wow, yeah, that's interesting. You got here right in the middle of the grunge craze. That was nice for you.
That's true.
You talked about having to do all those things, your values and all that. How did all of that ultimately change your approach to building a legal career or define your approach to building a legal career?
So I treat building a legal career like building a business in general. When you're in the world of private practice, you have to be authority as much as you have to be a business person. You need to understand that, like any other businesses, you're going to have your ups and downs. You have to build a thick skin and understand that not everything was going to be a success. There will always be a level of trial and error. And like in any business, our practice has had our fair share of trial and error. There's no way for you to get to success. It only takes one for you to be successful. And those failures I'm more grateful for than I am for the actual success, because they built that thick skin. They've built that ability for you to bounce back, the ability to think on your feet. And it has shaped not only our practice, but our overall culture. Being an attorney forces you to have to think on your feet. When you're in that courtroom, you can prep as much as you want. You can know the books inside and out. You can know your client's story inside and out. And the judge or the opposing party or a witness, somebody throws in a monkey wrench. And at that point, you're forced to think on your feet.
Mm-hmm.
And our business mantra is one and the same, that in an ever changing market, you are forced to understand that no matter how much you prep, when it comes down to it, you have to adapt. You have to be able to think on your feet. And that in itself continues to grow our business, whether it's COVID or an update on Google's algorithm. Regardless, you have to be able to move with the market.
Wasn't it Mike Tyson who said, everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face?
And look, once in a while, you kind of need that punch in the face.
Yeah.
Because in my eyes, stagnation is death.
Mm-hmm.
So if you keep doing the same things, you're going to keep getting the same results. If you're stagnant, it's because whatever you're doing is probably the same thing you've been doing over and over, and expecting results that are going to be different from what you've been getting, not realistic.
Right. Your father's values clearly play a major role in how you live and work today. How do you continue his legacy through your personal and professional choices?
My father spent most of his life working as a cab driver, working as a taxi driver, especially in the earlier days of when we came to this country. This is a person that was putting in 16, 18, 20-hour days just to put food on the table,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the work that was available for immigrant families in the 90s who had limited resources, who had limited language skills, who had no education at the time. Those values and the fact that his number one priority was to give us an education are some of the reasons why I strive to continue his legacy. His work ethic is what most of all keeps me going on a day-to-day. The ability to understand that you're going to have long days. You're going to have days where you want to quit. You're going to have good days, but the days that drive you to quit are really the ones that test your nature. Mm-hmm. And if you're able to get up and you're able to keep moving the following day, then you're in the right track. And that's the main part of his legacy, is education and resilience is what drives success, because I will outwork anyone. And in my mind, hard work beats talent 100% of the time.
Yeah, man, I tell you what, too, that your dad being a cab driver in a brand new city in a brand new country before the days of having GPS on our cell phones, that's hard. That takes some doing. I mean, you learn the city fast, I assume, but it had to be tough at the beginning.
Yeah, he had a map in his head before we had Google Maps.
Yeah, right. You have to. Otherwise, you're not going to make it. And people don't really have patience when you don't know where you're going.
That's true.
So when you founded Morgan Legal Group, what was the vision?
I founded my firm right around the same time, and just going back a bit, right around the same time that I lost my father. And the vision was to help others, educate others, and to open doors for people who didn't have the means to hire high-priced firms, to get the help that they needed. Our firm was founded initially as a trust and estate planning and probate firm. And the part of the reason that is right around when I founded my firm, my father had passed rather recently beforehand. And unfortunately, he left a mess. And I had to learn our probate process firsthand. I had to understand the values of having a valid estate plan in place firsthand. Understand the impact that during a time when your family is supposed to be focused on grieving the loss of a loved one, you're now trying to figure out, well, where do I go? What court am I dealing with? How do I recover money? How do I get access to funds? How do I pay for the funeral? How do I deal with creditors? How do I even find out if there are creditors? How do I figure out where all the money is, what kind of assets were left. And it gave me a real learning ability to understand without necessarily having an attorney in my corner, because I had to do this on my own before I founded my firm, or right around when I founded my firm, a real life experience to be able to share with others, both in the sense of experience on being able to do this for other people and understanding firsthand the value of proper planning.
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely see that. Your firm has earned a reputation for excellence and trust. What do you think has made Morgan Legal Group so successful in a very crowded and competitive space?
I'm a firm believer in saying what you do and doing what you say. Our firm has been built on that mantra. Above and beyond anything else, you have to deliver your service. You have to deliver quality service. You have to deliver quality work product. So part of the reason why we've been able to be so successful and continue to grow at such an explosive rate is because we actually deliver quality products. We actually deliver the best of the best in terms of service. Everything that you see, everything that's out there is legitimate. We have earned our accolades. We have taken down the Goliaths in our short time. And that in itself creates a reputation. Now, with that being said, I've also made it my business to make our firm educational first, meaning part of what we do on an everyday basis is deliver free educational materials to all people who are out there, whether it's written blogs about how to do certain things for yourself, the importance of putting certain wills and trusts in place, and how probate works and guardianships and all sorts of litigation that we deal with, but making these things easy and accessible, cutting out the legal jargon, cutting out the buried language that unfortunately a lot of lawyers have this old school mentality of I know better than you. Mm-hmm. And I can teach you, and I'm the only one who can tell you what you need. Well, unfortunately, folks, that's not the world we live in anymore. You have Google, you have AI, you have resources out there that are with unlimited potential.
Mm-hmm. In your hand.
In your hand. Literally in your hand.
Yeah.
Now, I am in no shape or form advocating for those things to replace professional services. What I'm saying is people have access to knowledge. The issue is people don't really know where to find certain things. And part of our mantra is to make those who maybe aren't able to afford our services still have the same ability, still be able to get things done, to make sure that they're able to help themselves in the legal realm, to make sure they're able to help their loved ones in the legal realm, that they're provided with all the tools and resources that they need, that at worst case scenario, even if we have a short conversation or consultation, if I can guide you in the right direction, I've done my job.
You know, estate planning can be emotional, right? It's a complex journey for clients. You talked about needing time to grieve, but being thrown into this, probate situation and all that. How do you approach it differently to make sure people feel seen, protected, even empowered?
You have to explain things on a very basic level. I come back to the point that this old school lawyer mentality of I'm going to bury this in legal language so you don't understand what we're doing and it sounds super complicated. It's really not. And really, if you can't explain to your client on a fundamental level what they're paying for, you're not doing your job right. If they can't walk away and tell their friends and family, hey, this person at Morgan Legal really helped me and this is why. Not just they're great. I can't really tell you what they did, but they did their job well. That doesn't work anymore. They have to be able to articulate what exactly we delivered. And I make it my business, and we train all of our employees and our associates and our attorneys to make sure that everything that they're doing, they're able to explain to their clients and to our clients on a fundamental level. So they really understand, what are we doing? Where are we in the process? And what is the end goal? What does the finish line look like? And how do we get there?
Finally, this podcast is about more than legal expertise. It already is in episode 1. We're talking success in all its forms. What does success mean to you today? And how has that definition evolved for you over time?
Success today for me means freedom. Now, that can mean a lot of different things to a lot of people. Freedom to me is the ability to do what you want when you decide you want to do it. Now, that can be preparing your will and trust when you choose to. That can be dealing with starting a business when you decide you want to start a business. It can also mean freedom of knowledge, where you have a base that at any point you can reach out, pull out what you're looking for, and understand where you need to go next. And that's how I define success. The more tethered you are to certain parts of your life, the more dependent you are on certain things, the less free you are. And the more well-rounded you become, the more educated you become, the more free ultimately you are in this world. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in. It doesn't matter what type of business you're involved in. Freedom means being able to spend time with your family when you decide you want to spend time with your family, or taking a night off in the middle of the week to have a date night with your significant other, or spend some time with your children or your parents. And to do that, you need to be able to move freely. You need to be able to do and conduct business and earn and make a living, regardless of where you're located. Now, that can be physically or that can be socioeconomically. And that's the other part of freedom. It's the ability to be able to move at your own pace. Now, for you, that can be sky's the limit overnight. For the person next to you, they may be a bit more comfortable with taking things step by step, but it's the ability to have choice. So success in its simplest term is the choice to decide what success means to you.
I like that. I like that a lot. I might steal that from you. All right. Well, thank you very much. That's a wrap on our first episode of Obsessed with Success. Russel, really appreciate you sharing your story. It's clear that your work is very personal and very purpose-driven. Thank you all for joining us on our first episode. If you found value in this conversation, make sure to subscribe, to share, leave us a review. And thank you again for listening to Obsessed with Success. Russel, really appreciate your time. Can't wait to chat with you again.
Absolutely. And for more, find us at morganlegalgroup.com or morganlegalny.com.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.